Another new Mega Drive game has arrived. This is Hunter Girls by PSCD Games. You may recognise them from my upcoming Mega Drive games video where I showed another of their games in development, Black Jewel Reborn. Hunter Girls was kick-started, but there was an issue outside of their control, so backers have been refunded and are being directed to order this directly from their website, which is linked below. This boxed copy will set you back $45, or you can go for the cart only option for $35, but for the sake of $10 I'd say it's worth getting it boxed with manual. For those wanting to play this on an EverDrive or emulation device, you'll be pleased to hear that they also offer a ROM only version for $10. There's also a demo available which I'll link to below as well. The packaging looks good and is well made, albeit a bit of a departure from the traditional look of Mega Drive games. There's a nice manual included which details the controls and a little bit about the game, playable characters and enemies. Hunter Girls is described by the developer as a runner with Lost Vikings inspired gameplay elements. This intrigued me immediately because I absolutely love the Lost Vikings. If you haven't played it, you control 3 separate characters at once, each having their own skills which you use to overcome enemies and solve puzzles. This was originally released on Steam a couple of years ago and has been reworked for the Mega Drive. In Hunter Girls, you control 3 heroines as they traverse short platforming levels: Agnes the warrior, Kim the archer and Flora the sorceress. You initially control Agnes alone, then it introduces the other 2 characters one at a time so you can get used to the controls. As this is a runner, you don't actually have to control the movement of the characters, all 3 of them are constantly running right, with the screen automatically scrolling. Press up on the D-pad to jump, for leaping over gaps between platforms or jumping over enemies and projectiles. The other controls are introduced slowly, much like the characters. Agnes has a shield which she can deploy by pressing right on the D-pad. This can be used to block incoming projectiles. The amount of shield power you have is indicated by the sword icon at the top left, which has a maximum value of 100. Now this isn't depleted by damage, it's depleted by holding the corresponding button. So the longer you press right on the D-pad, the faster it goes down, so it's in your interest to use it just at the right time. Kim fires arrows which are shot using the B button. These arrows can shoot certain enemies and your number of arrows is indicated under the quiver icon. Flora can summon a magical protection spell which blocks incoming damage from mages. The amount of magic available is shown under the mana flask icon. All of these meters can be refilled by collecting the corresponding pickup: a quiver for more arrows, a sword for the shield and mana flasks for more magic. The first few stages get you accustomed to using all these skills in tandem: jumping, shooting, blocking and spell casting, but the honeymoon period is short-lived as it gets super difficult very quickly. After a while more abilities are brought in. Agnes gets a sword which she can swing at enemies used by pressing C. The sword depletes your sword meter by using it, so now this is used up by both your shield and sword. So it's more accurate to think of each of the 3 icons in the top left as corresponding to each character rather than to a specific ability. Flora gets a magic ball projectile which she can fire at mages to kill them, done by pressing A. Until this point mages can't be defeated, so you have to jump over them after blocking their attack. There's also a magic arrow to unlock which I haven't got yet, which is shot by pressing down on the D-pad. And that's really why I'll probably call this a first impressions. I'm not really qualified to review this yet as I haven't got far enough. So quite a few controls to learn and they'll have to be pressed in the heat of the moment. This game is very unforgiving and often requires pixel perfect precision. All you have to do is perform actions that will allow you to overcome the obstacles in your way. It sounds simple, and I suppose in essence it is, but that doesn't mean the gameplay feels simple at all, far from it. Each enemy in the game has attacks it's vulnerable and immune to, so you'll need to learn which need to be shot with arrows, magic or just plain avoided. Often there will be 2 or more actions to execute in quick succession, for example a block immediately followed by a jump, then an attack. So learning the mapping of the moves is essential. The 3 characters will run in a line, and when you jump there's a slight delay in the second and then third character in the line jumping. This takes a bit of getting used to, as when you want to jump over an enemy or projectile you need to make sure you're early enough to get your first character over it but not too late so that the last character gets caught. It takes a few goes to get into the rhythm of timing the jumps just right. I found the difficulty accelerated very quickly. There wasn't much of a grace period at the start before it started getting really tricky. Some of you may have seen my review of Life on Earth, another recent Mega Drive game. Well, that scrolling level that I found so stressful, this is like a whole game of that. My hands were absolutely drenched in sweat playing this. They should call it Stress Simulator 2023. When you die, you're just reset to the start of the level. There's no continuing on if you turn off your console, only a password feature. I think these might be given after each boss, as I got a password after defeating my first one, but you're free to try a level as many times as you need. There is also a 2-player mode in which you can split the various actions between 2 controllers. Graphically, it's more basic than a lot of the recent Mega Drive games we've seen. Despite its simplicity, I think it's actually rather quaint, and some of the character animations are quite charming. The music is very jolly and doesn't feel traditionally Mega Drive to me, perhaps more like music you'd find on a DOS game. So this is one you'll probably benefit from playing yourselves, as I can see it dividing opinions, so maybe download the demo and have a go. It's probably a bit too difficult and stressful for me personally, but at the same time I really like the Lost Vikings inspired concept, and I haven't seen anything like this on the Mega Drive before. Thanks for watching.